The Siege of Louisbourg, which took place from June 8 to July 26, 1758, was one of the most significant military operations of the 7 Years' War in North America and a turning point in the struggle between the British and the French for control of the continent. The fortress of Louisbourg, located on Cape Breton Island, then known as Isle Royale, guarded the entrance to the Gulf of St. Lawrence and was considered the key to French Canada. Its formidable walls, strong coastal defenses, and harbor protected by a fleet of French warships made it a crucial strategic objective for the British, who sought to eliminate it as a barrier to an assault on Quebec. The British expedition, organized under the overall command of Major General Jeffery Amherst and with naval support led by Admiral Edward Boscawen, consisted of around 14,000 troops and a fleet of over 150 ships. Among the officers was Brigadier General James Wolfe, whose energy and tactical skill would play a vital role in the coming siege. After several days of waiting for favorable weather, British troops landed west of Louisbourg at Gabarus Bay on June 8 under heavy fire from French troops and indigenous allies. Despite stiff resistance and difficult terrain, Wolfe led a daring assault that established a beachhead and forced the French to withdraw behind the fortress walls. Once ashore, the British began constructing siege batteries and gradually encircled the fortress, cutting off all supplies and communications. Inside Louisbourg, the French garrison numbered about 3,500 regulars and militia, supported by a fleet of 11 warships anchored in the harbor under the command of Admiral Boscawen. The French hoped to hold out until reinforcements could arrive from Europe, but the British naval blockade made this increasingly unlikely. Over the next several weeks, British engineers and artillery crews worked tirelessly to advance their siege works, slowly moving their guns closer to the French defenses. Meanwhile, British naval forces engaged in a steady bombardment of the harbor and fortress. Several daring operations, including the cutting out and destruction of French ships, weakened the defenders' position further. French warships were sunk or set ablaze, their guns destroyed, and their ability to support the land defenses greatly diminished. The fortress itself came under heavy and sustained bombardment, which caused significant damage to the walls, powder magazines, and civilian areas, killing both soldiers and non-combatants. British sappers dug trenches closer to the fortress, and a large battery was constructed on Lighthouse Point to bombard the harbor directly. By mid-July, the situation inside Louisbourg had become desperate. Food and ammunition were running low, the French fleet had been neutralized, and morale among the defenders was collapsing. On July 21, the British launched a final bombardment that breached the defenses, and the French, recognizing the hopelessness of their position, requested terms. On July 26, Chevalier de Droucourt formally surrendered the fortress and its garrison. Over 5,000 French soldiers and sailors were taken prisoner, and Louisbourg, along with its fortifications and harbor, fell into British hands. The British dismantled the fortifications in the following months to ensure it could never again be used by the French. The capture of Louisbourg was a decisive victory for Britain. It removed the last major French naval base in Atlantic Canada, gave Britain control over access to the St. Lawrence River, and set the stage for the 1759 expedition against Quebec. The siege also marked the rise of James Wolfe as a key military figure, demonstrating his leadership and aggressive tactics, which would culminate in the Battle of the Plains of Abraham. The fall of Louisbourg was a major blow to French hopes in North America and helped shift the balance of power decisively in Britain's favor.